and Fulton coming to you on the best non-Red Friday edition of the year. Because it means that the Kansas City Chiefs are the 1 seed and they've got the bye for the playoffs. That's right. This is the best non-Red Friday of the year. Think about that, Fulton. I was thinking about that, wondering, going, this truly is the best non-Red Friday of the entire year.
Yeah, if there ever was a reason for it not to be a Red Friday during football season where we're actually happy about that, it's this. Like, the Chiefs are not playing this weekend, and I am delighted.
I think it's more of a bigger non-Red Friday than the week off before the Super Bowl. Because the non-Red Friday before the Super Bowl is the same for the other Super Bowl team. But for everyone else in the
AFC playoffs, they got play this weekend.
Play.
Bills got to strap it up this weekend. Bengals got to strap it up. Chargers and Jags got to play. And the Chargers got to do it without one of their best players because their head coach is a moron.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be my team.
Yeah. Imagine him to play a football game this weekend. Couldn't be my favorite team. They're, sitting home drinking some probably either health drink or alcoholic beverage.
Cold brew.
Cold brew. Could be having that. I mean, Patrick and Trav and Marquez and Juju, they're probably getting some extra running on Warzone this weekend.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 of those, that's correct. Patrick is probably actually dealing with 2 children that take up his time.
Wait till they both get mobile, Pat. Then come talk to me, all right?
They're not both mobile yet, but that day will come.
Wait till they get both mobile, then you can come talk to me, Pat, all right? Until then, zip it. Zip it. Zip it. We got plenty to get to on this Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky.
You know what truly is a great way to set the tone that this is one of those spooky kind of weird days? We have a texter on the Big O Terrace text line already who expresses my sentiments from the 785. Wait, hold on. Both of you are there at the same time? Yeah. Folks, it's that kind of a freaky day. Yes. Jake and I are actually doing a show together.
Yes, just the second one this week.
Second one in 3 weeks.
Since last year. I mean, it's been forever.
I told you got one of those. I told you got one.
My New Year's commitment.
Yes.
My New Year's commitment is more dad jokes.
Oh.
More. We need more of it. The text line. Big O Tires text line. Do you like my dad jokes?
Some of them do. They've expressed it.
Thank you. So,
your co-host sometimes doesn't.
That's all right, though. You get paid to sit there.
You know what? You're not wrong. I get paid to put up with them.
But we got a lot to get to on a feel-good, fun, fantastic Friday the 13th. Are you a big Friday the 13th, like, ooh, dear, bad juju, bad vibes, karma, all that?
I'm not superstitious. I am, though, a little stitious.
Okay.
It stems from the fact that I grew up playing baseball and love that sport, and it has an inherent superstitious part of it.
Okay, give me the difference then between superstitious and routine.
So here's my difference for it. If you're superstitious about something you do, you believe if you don't do it, a very bad thing will happen.
Okay.
It being a routine is you don't believe if you don't do it, a bad thing will happen, but you just feel more comfortable and puts you in a better, consistent headspace by consistently doing it.
So it's a little...
They're very similar.
I would say routine
They're very
and
similar.
Superstitious are not, apples and oranges.
No. It's like a Fiji apple and a red delicious apple. There's just a different shade.
By the way, Team Fiji. We got a lot to get to. We're going to talk a little hoops as well. Big weekend of hoops. There could only be one team in the Big 12 that's undefeated. There could be. We know there aren't going to be 3. Iowa State, KU, face off tomorrow.
One unbeaten's going down.
We're going to talk with Jared Stansberry coming up at the bottom of the hour. Kent Swanson will join us to talk a little AFC Super Wild Card Weekend and who he would like to face, issues with the Chiefs, the pass rush. A lot to get to with Ken Swanson. of the KC Sports Network. We are going to go back to our predictions. The beginning of the year. We are going to look and see how we did predicting divisional winners, how we did predicting the Super Bowl, our bold predictions.
I can already tell you I'm wrong on one of mine.
We will get to lots of that coming up today here on this edition of Mic'd Up. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it here on this Friday edition. We're going to start, though. It is Super Wild Card Weekend. Biggest news is that Mike Williams is not going to play in this game because he got hurt in the game on Sunday. That didn't mean anything.
It's just a real bummer he had to suit up in that game, and Brandon Staley had no choice but to play one of his stars in that matchup against the Broncos.
That had nothing to do.
Real shame that he was forced to play his star players that game. Had no other choice. Couldn't do anything else. Couldn't have possibly sat the important guys so they were ready for a playoff push. Couldn't do it.
No, he had to. I mean, if he didn't suit up Mike Williams, I mean, they could have lost.
They could have.
And
they could have lost him in the 5 seed.
Yeah.
It's so funny to watch as an outside observer.
Are you starting to come around on my Bill Belichick is not a super genius? He just is a mediocre coach because every other coach is terrible.
So I'm coming around on the principle of that idea of why we always thought Bill was a great coach. I'm also not coming around on the idea that Bill is becoming one of the idiots.
No arguments there with what occurred for the.
I think your overall premise is very correct. That Bill was never the super genius. Everyone else just stupider. But now I'm coming around to Bill might be getting a little bit of the stupids. But no, I actually fully come around to the idea that no, Bill was never a super genius. Everyone was just a moron.
Well, when it comes to the Super Wild Card Weekend, I do not want to see the Chargers. I do not want to see the Jaguars. I could see the Ravens. That's not an issue. And I can see the Ravens or Dolphins, please. One of you two win. Jags, please win. I do not want to see the Chargers. I know that Mike Williams is not going to play today. I think the Chargers are going to smack the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars is a fun, cute story. You went 9-8. You beat a crappy Tennessee team at the very end, and you needed some good fortune to do it. I'm not buying the Jags. Doug Peterson to take that shows how important coaching is.
Yeah,
Urban
it really
Meyer
does.
Doug Peterson. I think the Chargers are going to win, and I don't see how the Dolphins have remotely any chance against the Bills. I don't. I really don't. You could make that money line plus 18 million, and I still wouldn't put a single cent on that money line.
To use a quote from a good old-fashioned pro wrestling theme song, there's no chance in hell that the Dolphins win on Sunday.
No, none at all.
No disrespect to you, Skylar Thompson. No disrespect intended.
None at all.
There's not a snowball's chance in hell that the Dolphins win that game.
I think the Chargers, who got smoked by the Jaguars earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
People forget that, but that was when no Keenan Allen. This team was a little bit started a little bit slow. They picked it up late. I don't see I think the Chargers. And I might do this. I might put my money where my mouth is. I might put the Chargers double figure wins. I might do alternate spread Chargers minus no, not double figure. Let's go -8. Chargers -8. I think the Chargers take care of business.
If you give me a moment, I'll go to our friends at FanDuel and see what odds could you get at Chargers -8 on the alternate spread.
I really do like the Chargers in this situation. I do. I know Mike Williams is not there. I think the Chargers are going to be ready to go. I think the Jaguars are, and I know Doug Peterson is the better coach, but I like the Chargers. I think the The Chargers know if they win this game, they get the Chiefs. And there's nobody that plays the Chiefs better on a routine basis
than the LA Chargers.
Now, the Bengals have got the Chiefs number, but the Bengals are a top 3 team. We're talking...
Yeah, we're talking divisional matchup. I will tell you,
they know the Chiefs.
If you wanted to take the Chargers -7.5, that's plus 220 odds.
Free money.
I disagree. See, you and I have been in pretty lockstep on the AFC playoff picture overall. The Chargers-Jags where you and I disagree the most. The Jaguars, I think, will win this game. Because
no kidding.
I think the Jaguars win this matchup because I think with the injuries to the Chargers, I think the balance and talent level between these two teams is a lot closer than anyone wants to admit. I think this game being played in Jacksonville matters. The fact that these two teams and yes, week 2, week 3, long time ago. That is a long time ago. The Jags got the confidence that they beat the snot out of the Chargers in SoFi. Like they whooped them and embarrassed them in SoFi. The other fact is, I know the win against Tennessee was closer than some would have wanted it to be. That's good Titans defense. Like, that is a good Titans defense that has given a lot of people trouble all year long. The Titans' issue was offensively, and they still couldn't really move the ball against the Jaguars. The Jaguars' defense is hitting a level of a stride as of late. It's not elite to any measure of the means, but they're figuring themselves out a little bit. Trevor Lawrence is playing some outstanding football right now. Like, he is in a groove. They can run the football with Travis Etienne. That offensive line is hit or miss. Not stellar, but good enough. My issues with the Jags have always been their playmakers because it's relying on Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. I think I would pick the Jaguars to win this game because the Chargers are now down Mike Williams. He will not play because Brandon Staley let him fracture his back against the Broncos for no reason. Keenan Allen has been hit or miss because even when healthy, he's not been healthy for the year. Joey Bosa has a lingering injury. We don't know what he's going to play, and if he plays against Jacksonville, he might not be 100%. Rashawn Slater's practice window is open, but he probably still won't play. Like, this is a chart. I think this is a close game no matter what. I think it is close no matter who wins. I think the Jaguars pull it out.
The Jaguars have played nobody recently. They played the Titans. They stink. You play Houston. They're not any good. You played the New York Jets. Like, when was the last good offense they played? It was Dallas, and they scored 34 on the Jags. Herbert can play. Keenan Allen is healthy. Austin Eckler is the most underrated running back in the NFL. This is not the same Chargers team. That's the reason why I look at the Jaguars and it's honestly a little bit of and I get this. It's an emotional hedge a little bit because if the Jags win, I will be thrilled. Yeah. I don't think the Jags can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't. I think the Jags, like you mentioned, I'm not scared of Christian Kirk. I'm not scared of Travis Etienne. Their defense isn't outstanding. There's a reason they went 9-8. There is. They're playing better late because they ain't played nobody, Paul. They've played one good team. And the one good team, they beat in overtime. And we know the Cowboys, who we're going to get to them coming up later on when we talk about the NFC. Bucks are beating the Cowboys. That's right. The 8-9 led Bucks are beating the Cowboys. You heard that here. The one good team that they faced, the Jaguars, over the last 6 weeks, they got smacked by the Detroit Lions, 40-14. Like, that's the reason why I think the Chargers are going to win. I think they're going to win easily. I think the Chargers are playing good football. And it's unfortunate that their head coach has, French fries for brains because you didn't need to play him. And then he goes out and he says, well, rest is the most important thing, not reps. Like, wait a minute here. Do you listen to yourself?
He does.
Like,
and I don't know if he believes it, though.
Like, that decision makes me truly wonder if that decision and if the Jaguars beat the Chargers, Staley's fired.
He should be. Here's what I'll say about
you can't have this much talent and make so many dumb decisions,
and it costs your team situations. Here's what I'll say about the Chargers, though, because we've had the discussion here about the Jags ain't played nobody. Paul, let's take it from the bye week. Here are the wins for the LA Chargers since the bye to move to 10-7. Atlanta Falcons beat them by 3. Arizona Cardinals beat them by 1.
It's a good win.
Miami Dolphins beat them by 6.
Was that with Tua or without?
I believe that was without Tua, but we're about. I'll look real fast.
Okay.
It will not be hard to pull. If there was Tua Tagovailoa in that game.
Okay.
So it was with Tua. That matters.
It's a good win.
Beat the Titans by 3. Beat the Colts by 17. Jeff Saturday coached Indianapolis Colts.
Jeff Saturday.
And beat the Rams by 21. A Rams team that we all know is garbage. So I hear your argument on Jags ain't played nobody.
Yeah.
Chargers ain't played nobody either, Paul. And here are their losses in that span, though, which is more important.
You can't count the Broncos.
Because, and I won't.
You
I won't.
can't
Because I will say, the Jaguars lost to a real football team, the Lions. That's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 9-8 team. Here are the losses for the Chargers. 2 of them, quite good. Lost by 6 points to the 49ers. That's quality loss.
Quality loss.
Lost by 3 points to the Chiefs. Very quality loss. That's 2 high seeds.
Overtime.
Lost by 7 points to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Was that with Derek Carr?
Yes.
Okay, well then there you go. I can't believe Jared didn't play.
They still only won 6 games with Derek Carr.
That offense is pretty good, though. I mean, they did have a bunch of all-pros. We're going to get to that.
We'll get to that.
But I think the Chargers win.
And that's fair.
The one game that I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to keep it close, and I think that's the Ravens. I think the Ravens-Bengals game is going to be closer than what people think, because in this game, John Harbaugh is going to go for broke.
Yeah.
He will be. It is either going to be very, very close, or this puppy is the Ravens are going to go for it on every damn fourth down, and they're going to risk it all. And if it blows up in their face, they might lose by 40. But the Ravens have played the Bengals very, very well this year.
Yeah. They played them tight.
The line is 9.5. This screams low-scoring game, and they played low-scoring games before against these two teams. I think this is closer than the experts. I think the Bengals win, but it is much closer. I would take the points and the Ravens, whereas we're not even going to talk about Bills and Dolphins, because
Bills are going to win by 30,000.
Just a destruction of a game.
But only watch that game if you just want to watch Skylar Thompson play football.
Yeah,
that's the only reason to watch that game.
But I think the Bengals-Ravens game is going to be close. J.K. they're going to run it and run it and run it. It would not stun me to see this Ravens team, and especially if Huntley plays with the running game that he can do. J.K. Dobbins will have 30 carries. They should run him every damn down.
They're going to run the wishbone.
That's what I would do if I were. I think that's going to be close, but I think the Bengals win.
I think it'll be. I think it could be closer than expect. I wouldn't touch this spread with the 10-foot pole, but since he's going to win.
Do you consider if the Jags beat the Chargers that an upset?
I mean, by spread in Vegas mods, yes. The Chargers are favored.
I don't think if it's a 1.5 point spread, that's not an upset.
That's fair, but I mean, Chargers also favored on the money line. Like, it is by the books an upset. It's barely one, I'd say, because I think the Jags have a legit shot.
AFC chalk city. If you go, by
I think so too. I think it's 2, 3, and 4 get the wins.
I hope you're right, but I think the Chargers are going to end up getting the dub. Coming up next, the All Pros were released. We will get to that, and we'll talk a little hoops with Jared Stansberry. Two teams were released today. Patrick Mahomes got all but one first place vote, 49 of 50. Travis Kelce, unanimous at the tight end spot. Chris Jones, 49 of 50 votes. Some crazy person didn't think Chris Jones was one of two of the best defensive tackles. That's absurd. If you don't think Chris Jones is one of, but if you don't think he's the top one, okay, but he's number two then. That's ridiculous. And Tommy Townsend, first team All-Pro. So you got 4 first teamers. And then second team, Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey. Pretty impressive. 6 guys on the All-Pro team.
Good little run there.
Do you think All-Pro, like, honestly, like getting first or second team All-Pro really doesn't matter? Because you just say you're All-Pro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like
I'm with you.
If you're first team All-Pro, that should be more than second team All-Pro.
But it kind of has a balance point. But I mean, when it comes to like Hall of Fame stuff down the line, being first team All-Pro is, a decent indicator.
I find that someone's like, so-and-so is All-Pro for the third time. Like, well, he was second team All-Pro.
Yeah, and make the clarifier.
You know what I mean?
The clarifiers.
There should be clarifiers in that situation. Coming up next, KU Iowa State on the hardwood. Big game coming up. We're going to talk with Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic coming up next. On Mic'd Up, Jake LeBon, Fulton Caster with you on this Friday, the super wild card weekend coming up that the Kansas City Chiefs will not be participating in, which once again is the greatest non-red Friday of the year. We'll get to more of the NFC playoffs. We'll get to our predictions coming up an hour from right now. And when I say predictions, I mean what we thought was going to happen before the season started. Fulton, there is a chance that you could hit one of your bold predictions to the T. And it could very well happen.
Oh, I know exactly which one it is, and I still confidently believe. Well, not as confident for today, but today it gives me good hope.
It could happen.
I think we're going to hit it right on the money.
It could happen, which would be wild.
I'd feel proud.
Which would be wild. But we got a big weekend of hoops. K-State on the road taking on TCU at Schollmeyer Arena in that wild court that they got down there in Fort Worth. And then just like we all thought it would be, undefeated Big 12 play KU versus undefeated Big 12 play Iowa State. An incredible start for the Iowa State Cyclones. And to talk all things Cyclone hoops, because really we don't know a whole lot about him except Caleb Grill comes from the state of Kansas. He's been at Iowa State now twice. He's playing very well, but we're going to talk all things Cyclones with Jared Stansberry. Covers the Cyclones for CycloneFanatic.com. Very simple, very easy. Follow them on Twitter at CycloneFanatic for all your Iowa State news. Jared, are even Iowa State fans living on cloud nine? They didn't expect this type of start from this Iowa State team, I'm imagining.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think especially going into this, I don't think really anybody knew what to expect from this team when you just, obviously they brought in, I mean, you had to basically flip over the entire roster again after going to the Sweet 16 last year. And, you brought back a couple of key pieces with Gabe Coucher and, you mentioned Caleb Grill and then Jazz Kunch, but, none of those three guys were really your go-tos. You'd had Tyrese Hunter go into the transfer portal and go to Texas. And, I think TJ Otzelberger and his staff did a good job of bringing in transfers. You look at Jaron Holmes, you look at Oshun Oshani, like they got some guys that just fit into the culture of what Iowa State is trying to do from, perspective of playing really hard defensively and doing some of those things schematically that, that have allowed them to have success over the last year and a half. And I think that it's just it's come together almost exactly how, they pictured it coming together. And obviously having Gabe Coucher play as well as he has here through these first 4 games of Big 12 play has been important. And then Caleb Grill is shooting the ball as well as he ever has as a college player. So I think people are surprised to an extent, but I think there was flashes that this team could be pretty good during the non-conference. And now you're just kind of starting to see all of those things come together.
When it comes to the guy who's most important, is it Coucher? Who's the guy? Like, if this guy plays poorly tomorrow, the odds of Iowa State winning are not going to happen. Like, who's the guy that really is the most important player?
Man, I mean, I think if you're talking just who's their most important player, I mean, I think it's true freshman point guard Tamin Lipsey. And that's not because, he's not going to be a guy who's going to score 20 points for you, but he's just the conductor of the show, and when Kalsher plays well, like you have Kalsher, you've got Jaron Holmes, you've got Caleb Groh. Really, you need two of those three guys to play well. And all three of them are capable of being someone who can give you 20 points if you need them to. And that doesn't mean that they're all going to on any given night, but you can add it up and do the math to figure out where those three guys can give you enough points, to really help you. And then, you can get, the front court for Iowa State is just so much improved from what it was a year ago when you bring in Oshun, and then, Robert Jones has really taken a step forward, and then Hassan Ward has been a solid player. Trey King, they added him to the rotation after they lost to Iowa. He'd been a mid-year transfer last year, and he's been a big addition. So I just think with what Lipsey does as far as being the distributor, being the one who's making the plays and setting people up, he's obviously going to have a tough matchup against DeJuan Harris, who's one of the best point guards in college basketball. Like that, I think.
And that was going to be kind of my question there that you bring that up. Like, is that a huge match? Like, what's funny is you wouldn't think that would be a big matchup. Like, if you were to talk to most people, oh yeah, DeJuan Harris versus a no-name guy, because nobody knows who Lipsey is if you follow Big 12 hoops, unless you're like super into Big 12 hoops. You're not going to realize that for a guy who doesn't even average 7 points a game. But that really is such a monster matchup coming up tomorrow, is those two guys playing against each other.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between the people who watch the games and the people who just look at the box scores, but I do think, I love what DeJuan Harris brings to the table. And honestly, Lipsey reminds me a lot of him. So that's what I think is going to be so much fun to watch, that those two guys go head to head. And obviously, Harris is a really experienced player. He had the game-winning layup against Iowa State last year at Allen Fieldhouse. I think that will probably be, the game within the game, I think that will be the most fun matchup to watch. But obviously you think about, too, what, Gabe Kalsher is one of the best perimeter defenders in the Big 12, and if you're one of the best perimeter defenders in the Big 12, you're one of the best in the country. And I think they're going to probably have him on Grady Dick for most of the game. And, it'll be interesting to see how that matchup works out. And I think this is going to be a fun basketball game, and I don't know that means that Iowa State's going to come in and win, but I think that it's got a chance to be a really good one all the way to the very end. And it's just a fun matchup between these two teams.
We're talking about Jared Stansbury, covers the Iowa State Cyclones for Cyclone Fanatic. And defensively, this team is an elite defensive team. Did you think that they would be elite coming into this year? A lot of new faces, a lot of new, guys. Did you think that they would be this good on the defensive side? Because they are the best defensive team in the Big 12.
I think you knew that they would be pretty good, because you still, like I said, you bring back Kalsher, Kuntz is a good defender. Caleb Groh has really improved as a defender. And then you would add in guys like Oshuni, you added a guy like Hassan Ward, a guy, Robert Jones having, really improving. Like, you get some guys who can really protect the rim, then, and that can kind of take from a schematic level, kind of take you to the next level for what you can do with that no middle defense. And so I think you had to feel like they were going to be pretty good. I don't know if you thought they were going to be like top 10 in the country good or top 15 in the country good again, because I also thought they might take a step back a little bit defensively, which I think last year they finished like number 3 in the country in, on KenPom and adjusted defensive efficiency. So it's like you felt like they could maybe take a step back, but be better offensively. And that's what I think you've seen, during Big 12 play these last 4 games, especially, is like that offense is so much better. I think they've jumped like 50 spots in KenPom in adjusted offense in like 2 weeks, because so I think that part of the game is better, but then their defense is still elite. And that is what has allowed them to play at a really high level over these last couple of weeks. And that's what I think the expectation was for this team. And then they've maybe even exceeded what everybody thought was possible.
You wouldn't think that their offense would jump that much over the last 2 weeks, considering Big 12 has a lot of good defense. So what is their offense doing differently? Like That's surprising to me.
I mean, they're hitting shots. I think that's
helps.
one of the.
That helps.
Yeah, I think
helps.
that certainly helps. But I mean, you look at what Gabe Kalsher and Caleb Grove. I think both those guys are shooting, 45% or better from three in Big 12 play. Like the guys are just playing. Like these guys are just playing really well. Jaron Holmes is making things happen. Lipsy has been playing at a really high level, and like I said, I think the thing that maybe gets lost in it's because they don't put up massive numbers is how much better Iowa State's front court is and how you can rely on that group of guys to get you a solid amount of points. And it's not that all one guy is going to come out and give you 30 points, but those guys can combine to give you 25, 30 points on any given night, just as a group. And when you have that obviously takes a lot of pressure off of your guards. And, Iowa State's just a pretty deep team. Like they have a lot of guys that they feel really confident they can put on the floor. And it just is, it's been fun to watch him here over these last couple of weeks because I think that you've really started to see kind of the vision of what TJ Otzelberger wants his program to be really come together.
Alrighty, let's look at how you beat the Cyclones. Alrighty, let's say you're the head coach of a team that's playing Iowa State. What is it that you got to do? What do you got to do to make them play bad, that you can attack them? How would you go after this Iowa State team?
I mean, the first thing, the two teams that have beat Iowa State, the first thing they were able to do is you got to knock down shots. Iowa State's defense is going to try and force teams into taking long contested jumpers, and that means whether that's from the 3-point line or if that's from trying to force people into taking mid-range shots. And that's why, I mean, you look at the numbers, Iowa State's 3-point defense and 2-point defense are at a high level. And it's because they just make people take really difficult shots and they make it really hard for people to get all the way to the rim. They're really good at being able to take charges. So the first thing you have to be able to hit difficult shots and do that for 40 minutes. I mean, Iowa shot 60%, I think, in the game over in Iowa City from 3-point range. And it was guys that don't normally make those kinds of shots making shots, and it just was one of those nights. But that's the first thing. And then the other thing is I think you have to do a great job of being able to, put pressure on the ball. And Iowa State has not done a great job of being able to break presses this year. So I would expect at some point that probably is going to factor into the game. And then I think you just try and make Gabe Kalsher take difficult shots. You try and make Caleb Grove take difficult shots. And if they make them, you just got to tip your cap to them. But, we've seen in those guys' college careers that, it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could come out and go 2 for 10, So that it is, there is a path to beating Iowa State, but, over these last 2 weeks, they've done a really good job of being able to negate those things. And like I said, I think this is going to be a really good game because I think these two teams match up really well.
All righty, who guards Grady Dick, and then who guards Jalen Wilson?
I'd expect Gabe Kalsher to get one of those. I'd say he will probably take Grady Dick, but I guess I think that Caleb Grove could maybe go there as well. I think you could probably see a good mix of different people getting after both of them, but I'd say probably Trey King at some points will guard Jalen Wilson. I think you could probably see Kalsher. You could probably see Jaron Holmes on Wilson at different points in the game. Iowa State's got some guys that are really versatile that can guard a bunch of different positions. So, it just is like I said, I think it'll be fun. It's two teams that I think are matching up really well, and they've got the personnel to be able to match up with each other really well. And it should be a fun afternoon.
All righty, the Iowa State Cyclones are 13-2 right now. Is the dream that you guys play in Des Moines alive and well and talked about right now there in Ames?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think, you start to think about the possibility of being able to get one of those top 4 seeds, be able to play in Des Moines. That has been the dream since, ever since Des Moines started getting the NCAA tournament, I think, almost 10 years ago. And there's been a couple different times where, I think they got pretty close and they would stumble down the stretch and not being able to come through. And, I think especially too, when you consider the fact that the Sweet 16 could be in Kansas City, I think that adds to it as well. So just as yeah, I think that people would be really excited about that. But I think we got a long way to go. There's a lot of basketball games left to be played.
A lot of basketball to be played. 14 Big 12 games to be played, no question. All right, my last two for the road. Very simple, very easy. All righty. With what occurred at Allen Fieldhouse on Tuesday, what is the number? How many points do you have to be up by if you're a Cyclone fan with 5 minutes to go for you to say, we got this?
Oh, man. I literally wrote about this today in my preview. I don't know. With 5 minutes to go, 1 million. Like I think I just, as long as you're up by 1 when the clock hits 0, I guess that's what matters. But obviously, that's a lot easier said than done.
I think that's is it because 10 OU was up 10 with 5 minutes to go, and I felt it felt like that OU was going to do it because KU was playing so bad and OU was playing so good, and I was just like, this is the one time that it feels different. Shame on me for thinking that nope, they're going to end up gagging it away. So I'm going to ask so many people that question from here on out. How many points does it take for your team to be up with 5 minutes to go at the Fieldhouse, and you go, I can't believe it, but we're going to do it? So,
as someone who watched a West Virginia team that was ranked yak away a 14-point lead with 2 minutes to go, no lead is safe inside that building.
Oh, it's insane. And lastly, up there in Iowa, who do Iowans cheer for in the NFL? I know we've got the Chiefs radio network up there as well, but I mean, if you're in Kansas or Missouri, you cheer for the Chiefs. I mean, unless you're like the outlier and one of the people who cheer for like the Cowboys or something like that. So what about Iowa? Who do you cheer for? Are you Bears? Are you Vikings? Are you Chiefs? Like what do Iowans, cheer for?
So Iowa's kind of interesting because we obviously don't have any pro teams.
Yeah.
So it's we're kind of at a crossroads, and in the NFL it's fun because there's just you have people that are fans of everybody. Obviously I have a lot of friends that are Chiefs fans. I have a lot of friends that are Bears fans. I'm personally a Vikings fan. I have a lot of friends that are Vikings fans, Packers fans, Steelers fans, Cowboys fans. It's just kind of a melting pot of, if you're a fan of somebody, like there's somebody in the state that's also a fan of them, and then you guys can form a little club and you guys can be the Cowboys of Iowa, or whatever. And so that's kind of cool. It kind of stinks like during the NBA or Major League Baseball because there's like 8 teams that claim Iowa as their home territory, so then you get blacked out of a lot of stuff. But otherwise it's pretty fun. So yeah, that's what I would say is I think it's a good mix of everything, but there's definitely a lot of Chiefs fans up here. A lot of my best friends are big Chiefs fans. So.
All righty. Well, I'm always interested in that when it comes to that specific city, because Nebraska fans, there are a lot of Chiefs fans in Nebraska. I know that. So I didn't know about Iowa. So thank you for enlightening me on that, Jared. I appreciate it. Jared, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the game coming up tomorrow from the Fieldhouse.
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Jared Stansberry covers the Iowa State Cyclones for Cyclone Fan. Great stuff there. Really, really good stuff. That's the reason why we try to get a little insight. Nobody, he covers them every single day, and he says that the matchup is DeJuan Harris against their point guard in Lipsy, who averages less than 7 points a game. Now he averages about 6 assists a game, but that's interesting. This thing's going to be a rock fight.
Yeah, the offense is probably not going to be a high one. KU playing defense pretty well right now. Iowa State, best defensive team in the conference. Probably going to be a rock fight. Probably going to be very close. Don't watch this game if you want to watch pretty basketball. I don't recommend it.
What do you think the line will be? It's not out yet, obviously.
I'd personally go KU by probably 2.5. I think these teams are very close, but you got to give the Jayhawks an edge because they're playing at Allen.
Oh, of course.
Like, that building causes every opposing team to forget they have brain cells.
Yeah,
they just stop. It just stops working at some point.
Game's not out yet, so don't know.
I was actually I was attending the game as a fan. One of the rare times I was doing that last year when KU and Iowa State played in Allen Fieldhouse. Watching that DeJuan Harris game winner was a joy because I didn't think it was coming.
I can see that. Coming up next, speaking of making a wager or two, how much money did Kansans wager in December? I've got that number. I'll give it to you next. Start of Super Wild Card Weekend. Not just Wild Card Weekend, Super Wild Card Weekend. And it's here. And the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers join today get $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with the promo code JAKE. It's JAKE. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Bet anything involving the Bills because they are going to destroy the Dolphins. It's all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use, so football fans don't miss out. Place your $5 bet and get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code JAKE. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as an auto-travel free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem, getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com. The numbers are out for the total sports betting money wagered in December for a bunch of states. In the state of Kansas. Kansas. $182 million bet in Kansas.
In 1 month.
In 1 month. Indiana had 431. Tennessee 440. Maryland almost 500.
Good for Maryland.
And in New York 1.6 billion in a month. $1.6 billion in a month.
Pretty sure New York City probably had a lot of that.
Kansas, $182 million wagered. And we've only had sports betting for less than 5 months. September, October, November, December, January.
5 months.
5 months. 182 million.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Be interesting to know how much total money in 2022 went to the state, because it's not a ton, but it's still more. This was money that wasn't going to be.
Yep.
Now it is.
That was all going to be offshore.
Coming up next, we're going to talk with Ken Swanson on all things Chiefs. Number 2 here on Mic'd Up. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday afternoon. It is Friday the 13th. Jake and Fulton Caster with you. I want to thank Jared Stansberg for coming on, talking a little bit of the Iowa State hoops. Big games coming up for both KU and K-State on the hardwood. We'll get to more K-State versus TCU coming up in a little bit. We'll get to Everyone Loves the List. We will also get to our preseason NFL predictions via the playoffs, winners, divisions, and our bold predictions. We will get to that coming up as well. On second thought, a lot to discuss here on this Friday here in the capital city. To talk all things Chiefs, though, right now, we're going to talk with our good friend from the KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. He is Kent Swanson. You can follow him on Twitter at Kent_Swanson. Kent, my first question I have for you, is this the best non-red Friday of the year?
Oh, it's absolutely delicious. This is so much fun to sit back, relax, enjoy some football stress-free. I mean, this is such a great, fun time of the year. And like, I can go back to when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and the chaos that ensued, in the week before they, had to play. And it's just, it's a lot of fun. You're hoping for some upsets. You're hoping for some chaos. But the the realities of the postseason start hitting, it's a lot of fun. I'm putting a brisket on tomorrow, man, and it's going to be a whole vibe all weekend.
And that's why, when we were discussing it, it's the best non-red Friday because the off week before the Super Bowl, the other team gets a bye week too, and that's just nerves because it's the Super Bowl. Whereas this one, it's hey, have fun Bengals, have fun Bills, enjoy it 49ers. I hope you have a great time Vikings. We're not going to be playing. That's why it's the best non-red Friday of the entire calendar year. So I hope Chiefs fans are enjoying this one. Kent, it is a very simple question I have for you. Who do you want the Chiefs to play? Give me the order. You'd rather play who first, who second, and who third, who fourth?
If I'm looking at it, I'd rather play the Dolphins the most. Dolphins the most. Ravens, then Jaguars. Then Jaguars, even with the Mike Williams, then Chargers. I think that's the order for me. So with the quarterback situation in Miami, like I'll be stunned if that actually happens. If I'm being honest, like I just don't see a realistic scenario where the Dolphins can actually pull it off. But I think it would have to be lightning catching lightning twice for the Dolphins to pull off an upset. So yeah, give me the Dolphins as the highest priority for the Chiefs.
So Jaguars and Chargers, even with Mike Williams out now because Brandon Staley's not the smartest individual, you still are with me. I don't want to see the Chargers at all. Give me the Jags. Give me Christian Kirk. Give me Travis Etienne. Give me Trevor Lawrence and that long flowing hair of his. I don't want any part of the Chargers.
You're right. Like I think that's the worst matchup for the Chiefs. In the round one possibilities. I'd much rather play the Jaguars. And look at both teams. Obviously, they don't have playoff experience. With these current regimes, as far as just like the teams that they're actually on. But the Chargers have such a familiarity with the Chiefs. They've beat the Chiefs before. Every game's a 3-point game with them. I'd much rather play the team that the Chiefs comfortably handled earlier in the season. And honestly, that loss was kind of the catalyst for the turnaround in Jacksonville. I think they've lost one game since that Chiefs game, and they got their bye week reset and got hot. But I don't think I trust the consistency of the Jaguars to be able to hang with the Chiefs the same way. I think the Chargers can, even without Mike Williams.
Well, here's hoping that I call it the emotional hedge. I will bet the Chargers to win, but if the Jaguars do end up victory, I will be happy. Therefore, the good old emotional hedge will be happening on this side of the table for me coming up tomorrow when they are in action. Let's get to the Chiefs, Kent. You know the Chiefs better than most. So right now, the Chiefs' biggest issue in the divisional round with whoever they face, it's not the opposing team. It's the Chiefs. It's their own. What is it for the Chiefs?
Protecting the football. I think, the thing and turning the other team over, I think like the Chiefs must protect the football better than they have this season. They're one of the worst turnover differential teams in all of the NFL. And that typically doesn't breed success. The margin for error, I think, can be a little bit scary when this team isn't turning the ball over and when they are turning the ball over themselves. And I think that's a big disadvantage for this football team. And one of the things that can derail their season is, if they're putting the ball on the ground, some Mahomes interceptions, because I don't know if the defense is going to be able to consistently generate enough turnovers during the year, or during the playoffs. So to kind of mitigate that, you have to place a premium on protecting the football. So that's, I think, the biggest, issue for the divisional round and the entirety of the playoffs is if the Chiefs just simply protect the football, I think they're going to win every game in comfortable fashion.
Are you worried at all about injuries right now to Tooney, to Clark, to Tony, to Hardman, to Snead? I know not playing a physically contact game for 2 weeks is a huge boost. That is huge. But are you at all worried about some of these injuries?
Not really. I mean, maybe the McCole Hardman one. Like, I think it's going to be very difficult for McCole Hardman to have a role, a significant role, or potentially any role in the playoffs, just because he's so far removed from playing. He hasn't been able to get back onto the field. He's had some setbacks from some indications. So and there's a little bit of weight loss, I believe. It's been reported as well. So it's just a little bit tricky, for him to get involved in. Like, he played a big role, and he had a valuable role specifically in the red zone where, there's not a lot of space there. You can try to stretch the field horizontally, and he's one of the guys best equipped to do it. Good news for the Chiefs, though, is that Kadarius Toney is there to kind of help mitigate that a little bit. And Kadarius Toney maybe doesn't have the exact same, linear speed that McCole Hardman does. He has plenty of it, though, and the thing he has is a little bit more wiggle, change of direction ability that you've kind of seen him used similarly to what McCole Hardman has, but has been able to execute in a different way and arguably a better way.
Well, let's get to the defense. If I would have told you at the beginning of the year that the Chiefs would be number 2 in sacks in the NFL, you would have said what?
Wow. How many, did they go 17-0? Like, it's interesting. Like, this team has definitely been able to get home and finish, plays to the quarterback at a higher clip than they ever have. I'm pretty blown away. It's just kind of, I think every Chiefs fan that's watched every game has also been a little bit concerned about their ability to generate consistent pressure and affect the quarterback, which is kind of ironic considering the number of actual sacks that they've been able to generate. You go back to games against the Bills and the Bengals, they stick out. When this team is playing the best teams, they've struggled to generate pressure. They've struggled to sack the quarterback. I think those are going to be the sticking points for fans where, yes, the Chiefs have been able to feast at times, but it's all about whether or not they're able to do it consistently in the playoffs against, one of the Bengals or Bills when the time comes.
And that's my next question is, yeah, they got after Jarrett Stidham, they got after Geno, and they got after Davis Mills. They can't get after Joe Burrow. Why is that? The Bengals offensive line is better than I think people get it credit for. They didn't get after Josh Allen. So does it really matter if you can get after the quarterback against non-elite teams? Like, does it really matter? Like, I don't really care if they got after Davis Mills or Jarrett Stidham. That doesn't really matter, does it? If you can't get after Bengal or Burrow or Hurts or Brock Purdy.
Right. And yeah, I think that's one of the big things that you you got to look at. And I think one thing is I think this pass rush still runs through Chris Jones. And the thing that, the best teams have been able to do is limit Chris Jones' ability to wreck a football game. The pressure rates versus, the top shelf teams relative to, like you said, beating up on the on the worst quarterbacks, are pretty jarring. And it's going to hinge a lot on if Chris Jones is able to play to a level that he's been for most of the season. The playoffs are all about your stars shining. The playoffs are all about your best players, making big impacts on the game. And if the Chiefs are going to win a Super Bowl, Chris Jones has to have a monstrous playoff. And if he does, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl. And if he doesn't, you're going to have some questions. You're going to be pulling your hair out against one of the Bills or the Bengals whenever the time comes.
We're talking with Kent Swanson from KC Sports Network. Follow Kent on Twitter at Kent_Swanson. Check out the KC Laboratory podcast for the KC Sports Network. George Karlaftis, what's gotten into Furious George the last 7 games?
I mean, he's continued to work. I don't know if he's generating. I don't think he's a guy that's creating tons and tons of quick pressure. I think he started to create a little bit more quick pressure as the season has gone on. But there's a little bit of we've seen the success that he's had lately with sack production. A lot of those are late in the snap sacks, which is totally fine because the effort, the energy has rewarded him with some of those opportunities. But it does also feel a little bit like he is starting to generate a little bit more quick pressure. And I think that's one of the things that this team really needs is really affecting the quarterback outside of when they're bringing him to the ground. And, Karlaftis, I think you're seeing him rewarded at times with some more quick win sacks. And you're also seeing, what makes him such a high floor player for this football team moving forward is, he's going to continue to fight through the rep. He's got an outstanding motor, and he's rewarded for some of that too. So, I mean, it's a little bit of improvement with the quick wins, off the edge, but it's also just, hey, like, this is what he is, and this is how he's going to, help create some production for his football team.
The Chiefs, basically in the last 5 games are the 5th best team at getting to the quarterback when it comes to pressure rate. Do you buy that? Like, is this a different pass rush since the game against the Bengals? Do you really truly believe, even though it's not been against elite quarterbacks, do you think this pass rush has improved that much that if they play the Bills or the Bengals again, that it will be different? Because the numbers are showing, like, they are getting after the quarterback in the last 5 games. There is no question about it. They are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying it too much, just because, like, circumstantially, you look at some of the teams and some of the offensive lines that they've been able to play recently. Russell Wilson twice, the Houston Texans, Seattle Seahawks, the Raiders even. Like, there's just, there's some really struggling offensive line there. Russell Wilson's been holding on to the football a lot and too long, and I think that there are some elements there that give you some reasons to be excited and to be encouraged that maybe that they've improved since the Cincinnati game. Like we talked, I think George Karlaftis has improved. He's starting to generate more quick pressure. The stunts and the twists, that this team executes. Mike Dana is good for a sack, here or there, in some of the games that they're running. But it's just the 4-man rush is always going to be the thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because you can't really blitz Joe Burrow, and that's the problem. Is, can the front 4 get home? Can they generate enough pressure to affect the quarterback in a big way? And I know it's been better, but they've got to show it against a good team, especially against a quarterback that is going to hold is not going to hold on to the ball very long like a Joe Burrow.
It's not wild card weekend, Ken. It's super wild card weekend. You got to remember that. It is now super wild card weekend. Will there be any upsets?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe the Jaguars. I think I'll pick the Jaguars. They're technically underdogs. Give me the Jaguars out of the AFC, and if I have to pick an upset, give me the Giants beating the Vikings. Like, I think those are the two games I'm kind of monitoring. But I think the Bengals and the Bills will take care of business. I think the Niners will take care of business. Bucks Cowboys could be a little bit interesting, but the two teams on upset alert would be the Chargers and the Vikings for me.
The answer is the Buccaneers are going to win. That's going to happen. I am not a believer in Tom. This is what Tom Brady wants everybody to believe. I'm going to bet Tom Brady in the playoffs until he gets bounced. So I am not a believer. I think Dak is basically Derek Carr light, or no, the other way around. Derek Carr is Dak Prescott light, excuse me. I'm not a believer in Dak. I don't think he can win you a Super Bowl. So, no, I'm going to say the Buccaneers get the win. Last two for the road, 2 quick ones I got for you. Where's the AFC title game going to be played at?
The AFC title game will be played in Arrowhead Stadium between the Chiefs and the Bengals.
You are right. This is why we are synchro mesh here. The Bengals are beating the Bills. If I'm the Bengals, I'm so fed up with everybody's like, oh, we're going to have this neutral site. Oh, gosh, the NFL's going to have to choose. Oh, it's going to be in Atlanta. Hot take. All that effort is basically like me prepping for a play-by-play game, or I don't really use all of it. Does not matter. Bengals are going to be playing the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and it's going to be lit.
Yeah, it's going to be insane, and things will be different this time. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind. If it's Chiefs-Bengals, I know who's winning that football game.
And last thing, this is kind of a personal question, but I have to ask it because I know you did as well. After today, I'm feeling very good about my Patrick Mahomes Futures MVP bet that I got at plus 850. So I got to know, how much money are you making when you put a wager down on Mahomes to win MVP, my friend?
So real quick, are there any sports books that you guys subscribe to there?
I'm a huge fan of FanDuel, and you need to check out FanDuel right now and use the promo code Jake. That's JAKE, Kent. Use the promo code Jake, because right now, if you're a new subscriber to FanDuel this weekend at Super Wildcard Weekend, if you place your first $5 bet, you get $150 in free bets guaranteed with the promo code Jake. So yeah,
I just want to make sure, there's reasons to ask these days. I acquired a free bet and placed that free bet on Patrick LaVon Mahomes at plus 900.
So you and me both got him at plus 900 for MVP.
I got him at plus 850. You beat me to the punch.
So I've got a chunk of change coming my way as well, and it's a lock. Try to start figuring out. Me and my friends all did it, so we're trying to figure out what steakhouse we're going to.
Yes, that's the best thing, man. To have plus, you got a plus 9, I got a plus 850. But guess what? We're all winners in this situation. So I'm happy for you. After seeing the vote tally for All Pro be 49 out of 50, I'm feeling pretty good about that here coming up for NFL honors. Kent, thank you so much for the time, my friend. I'll be interested. You're going to have to let us know what steakhouse you're going to.
Yeah, you got to start figuring out what you're spending that on, buddy.
Probably something on my kids. I'm lame.
Well, if we wind up at a Topeka Steakhouse, I'll hit you.
All righty, sounds good. Kent, thank you so much.
All right, yeah, good talking to you.
Ken Swanson of the KC Sports Network. I wonder how many people did put a futures bet on good old Pat Mahomes.
It's very profitable, and I'm very happy about it.
I know.
I make a nice little chunk of scratch when that comes out.
I made the mistake of telling my wife.
Shouldn't have done that.
That was a bad decision.
Shouldn't have done that.
I got so excited. I was like, yes!
Rookie mistake.
And then my wife's like, what are you excited about? And I said, don't worry about it. And she goes, what are you excited about? I said, well, Pat Mahomes is probably going to win the MVP, and I have a bet on that. And she goes, oh, how much are we winning?
Jake.
Keyword there is we.
Jake, got to know better.
Coming up next, we got Everyone Loves the List. Foods that you want to gorge yourself, that you just keep eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. We'll get to that next. Very quick, Everyone Loves the List today. It is foods that you just keep eating and eating and you just gorge yourself on. Alrighty, number 4. What do you got?
Never get a Havix is too expensive, but it's very good. Jerky. I will destroy a thing of jerky in less than a minute.
Number 4 for me, buffets.
Yeah, just them as a whole. That's actually a good
All
call.
you can eat buffets. You just keep going and going and going.
They're so good.
Yep.
Number 3 for me, fries. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what kind they are. I will just destroy a large amount. It's why Five Guys, I love it because they give me so many.
I don't like Five Guys because it's like eating a brick when it comes to their burger.
You don't get the burger.
Sushi.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Man, I
didn't think about that.
I can put down sushi. Sushi.
That's
Love
a good
sushi.
one. That's a good call.
Sushi's not for everybody, though.
No, it's not. Number 2 for me, because it's just a common one, chips. It's really easy just to eat a whole bag without thinking about it.
Yes, more specifically, Pringles.
Pringles are a good call.
There's a time where I've ate a whole tube of Pringles in one sitting.
That's me with chili cheese Fritos or Cool Ranch Doritos.
Just chips.
Just downed.
Just destroy chips.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me is very simple, but also goes back to I can't have it a bunch because of price. Wings. I will destroy wings and can never stop.
Number 1, and it's no question, I get the refill. Popcorn.
Yeah.
I just eat popcorn and popcorn and popcorn. Love popcorn. No question. Coming up next, we're going to go back to September. And we're going to see how right we were at our preseason predictions. What a great band.
Yeah.
That's a great bump.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorites.
Fantastic.
I'm singing the lyrics in my head every time we play that thing.
It's fantastic.
I still got it playing in my head right now.
Fantastic song.
Great song.
Fulton, we are going to take a look back at our predictions.
We don't have to look at all of them. We can just look at the good ones.
No, we got to look at all of them.
I don't want to. There's some of those in there I don't want to talk about.
Do you want to go with our predictions or do you want to go with our picks?
I think we should start with our divisional picks.
Okay.
Because we picked all the winners and picked our wild card teams.
Okay.
Let's see how accurately we picked the playoffs.
We actually...
I think we were both pretty close, if I remember correctly.
In the AFC, yes.
NFC was
not so
no
much.
good.
So we both had the Chiefs.
Obviously.
We both had the Colts.
Good job, Jake. We did great.
Not good there. We both had the Bills.
Good job, team.
Good job, team. We both had playoff teams. You picked the Bengals.
Yeah, I had the Bengals winning the division. That's a point for your boy.
Yeah. I had the Ravens.
Yeah, but you did have the Bengals in the playoffs. Remember, they were your wild card team.
We picked all three of the wild card teams correct.
Wow, look at us.
We picked the Chargers as wild card 1. You had the Ravens. I had the Bengals. So flip-floppy. And then we both picked the Dolphins as wild card 3.
I just want to point that out. That means that I had 6 of 7 playoffs perfectly correct. I just did not pick the AFC South correctly, which, who can blame me? But I would take my victory lap on having all that chalk. I can't take the same victory lap in the NFC. I already know that.
For the NFC, I had the Eagles.
Good job.
You had the Cowboys.
Good job, Fulton. I almost was right on that.
Almost was right on that. Kind of a flip-flop there with you and me and the Bengals and the Ravens.
Yeah.
We both picked the Packers.
Oh, boy, that didn't go well. Thanks, Brendan.
Yep. We both picked the Bucks.
That was probably the easiest one we could have done.
And then we both picked the Rams.
Good job, Jake. We did great there.
Not so much there.
That was bad.
For the wild card.
If I remember correctly, this is where things got weird.
For the wild card, I went with the 49ers.
Good job.
Which they made the playoff.
Yeah. Division winners to the wild card. We still got the right playoff team.
Yep. I then decided to go with the Saints.
That didn't work.
Did not work. And the Lions.
That almost worked and was going to be perfect.
You went with the Eagles.
I got that right. Just flip-flopped a little.
Made the playoffs. The 49ers.
I was right. Another victory lap.
Yep. And then the Panthers.
I just want to point this out real quick. 2 years in a row, I have said the Panthers will make the playoffs. 2 years in a row. At some point, I'm going to stop doing that. I believe it's going to be this next go-round. I don't know why I did it 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, I said that they were going to be a playoff team.
Now, our Super Bowl pick.
Oh, boy.
This is where I got one on you.
I don't want to talk about this one.
You had the Chiefs over the Packers.
Yep.
I've mine is still alive.
Good for you. Mine's very much dead in the water.
I've got Chiefs over the Bucks.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
I think the Bucks are getting healthy at the right. I think the Bucks are going to beat the Cowboys. And if the Bucks beat the Cowboys, then the Bucks would end up playing probably the 49ers.
Because you think the Giants are going to beat the Vikings? We're going to do those picks later, but remember, the Bucks are the 4. It would require the 6 or the 7 winning for them not to play Philly.
Oh, that's true. And I like that even better then.
Like that even better, he says.
Yeah, because
he likes that even better, he says.
Yes, because I don't think Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts the start of the year.
I have thoughts and takes on that. I will reserve them for the 2:00 hour, but I have thoughts and takes on that.
Do you like Jalen Hurts? You think the Eagles are feeling good?
I have thoughts and takes on that.
Okay. So I've got Chiefs over Bucks.
Still alive.
Which is still alive. So I'm still gonna ride with it.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's what you do.
So overall, we did pretty well on the predictions, to be honest with you.
We did pretty good.
Did pretty well when it comes to that.
Both, I think on both of mine, I just got only one playoff team wrong on both sides.
Yes.
I'm proud of myself.
2.
What was my second one wrong? Oh, I picked the Packers.
Packers and Panthers.
Yeah.
And then I went with Packers, Lions, and Saints.
Yeah.
So that is what we got the same amount of divisional teams right.
Yeah. Good job for us.
Divisional teams. So we did all right there.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
No, not at all.
And in honesty, we didn't do bad with our predictions either.
I'm very proud with one of these. I'm not proud of the other.
Okay. So you did not do a player prediction, or at least you didn't write it down. Okay. Or like with a rookie prediction, because it's not written down here. So we did 2 team predictions and then a rookie or a player prediction. And then we did 2 Chiefs bold predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I went almost 2-0 on my predictions for bold predictions for
the NFL.
I said Tennessee will miss the playoffs this year. They were going to be the 1 seed last year, going to miss it this year.
Nailed it. Proud of you.
Nailed it.
Good job.
And I was almost 2 for 2 when it comes to the team, because I said the Lions will make the playoffs this year. They will go 10-7.
You almost had the record right too.
Dang Seahawks.
You're close.
I was so close with the Lions almost making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, you did good.
So I went 1 for 2, but it was like I lipped out the birdie putt.
You did. You lipped out the birdie on that one because they had that chance going into the final week.
For my bold rookie prediction, I said George Pickens would win the Rookie of the Year.
Probably not going to happen.
No, he wasn't terrible.
No, he just wasn't as good as you probably hoped.
I was hoping that Pickett and then would just throw him the football so many times that he would have, a ton. But Offensive Rookie of the Year is probably going to go to Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. So those are my 3 bold predictions for the NFL. Tennessee missed the playoffs. Lions make the playoffs. George Pickens Rookie of the Year. Fulton, for some odd reason, you doubled down on the Carolina Panthers. You said bold prediction: the Carolina Panthers will make the playoffs. They will go 9-8 or 10-7. And you said it is doable, and the NFC is bad. They did not make the playoffs.
Then I have my other one that I'm real not like. That one I'm kind of not proud of. I'm real not proud of this next one.
You went against Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, I did.
Fulton said his second team bold prediction: the Pittsburgh Steelers will finish below 500 for the first time since 2003. That team is horrible.
I want to point out, I was correct that the team was bad. That team isn't good.
They're not horrible, though.
They're borderlining on it.
No, they're not, because they had a winning record.
Well, they got it that way because I shouldn't have. And I've learned my lesson. I will say this right now in front of the whole everyone watching here and listening. I've learned my lesson. I will never go against Mike Tomlin ever again, because he scratched and clawed and dragged that team by the back back of their necks to 9-8.
Yeah, he did.
That team had no business being 9-8.
None.
No damn business. I will never go against Mike Tomlin ever again. I'm sorry, Mike. I apologize. I feel so bad. Like, I should never have done that. I should have known better.
I can't believe you did.
I don't know why I didn't. I gave one on air. I do remember that. I didn't write it down, though. So I'd have to go back and listen to this audio to know what I said.
I think it was like McCole Hardman will be all pro.
It might have been something really silly. I think it was silly around that nature. I'd have to look. We have the ability. I might go back and look on this with some time here, and we'll revisit that. I just got to find the audio.
Then let's get to our Chiefs predictions.
I'm very proud of one.
These are our bold predictions. I was right on one.
Yep.
Big whiff on the other.
I was probably going to be right on one.
Well, we're gonna have to wait and see yet.
I said probably.
So
whiff on the other, though.
Big whiff on the other.
Woo!
My bold prediction that the Chiefs would rack up over 40 sacks this year.
Good job.
Nailed it. Then I said Sky Moore will have 9 total touchdowns, rushing and receiving this year. How many touchdowns has Sky Moore gotten this year?
What? 2?
How many touchdowns has Sky Moore gotten this year?
Oh, Jake. I honest to God did not realize this.
How many has he got?
Jake, that's a goose egg.
He got the same amount as you and me.
He's got he like me. Boy.
He just hasn't developed at all. At all. None. How many does Kadarius Toney have right now?
Oh, I think 3.
I think it's more than that, isn't it?
Maybe, I don't know. He has 1 rushing and 2 receiving. He has 3 total. Bang.
Yeah, I meant to say that Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, because you obviously also predicted that Kadarius Toney
would be traded.
To the Chiefs.
Yeah. So got that one wrong.
Yeah,
but
you did.
Got one right.
You did. Good.
Alrighty. Fulton said that the Chiefs would finish top 5 in scoring defense.
They did not.
Both of our whiffs
were pretty big swings and misses.
Great.
I mean, we are just waving at that pitch outside and not even coming close.
Yep. Now, you have a chance.
I do.
At getting your next one.
The door is open.
You said Patrick Mahomes will be the unanimous MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Just the 3rd since 2000.
Yep.
He got 49 of 50 on the All-Pro team. So he didn't get unanimous. One person voted Jalen Hurts. Now,
and that one voter is going to screw me over for being right.
The MVP. It's kind of the same.
It's nearly the exact same people that vote for all pros vote for MVP.
Yes.
It is a very, very good litmus test for who wins that award based on all pro votes. The door is open. I'm going to be very honest right now. I think Mahomes is going to get 49 to 50 votes for MVP. And I think that same person that gave Jalen Hurts first team All-Pro is going to give him a first team MVP vote. And I'm going to be happy because I'm going to take my winning Mahomes future, take that money and spend it on myself and get myself something pretty. I am going to find that person, hunt them down and point out that they made me get a prediction wrong by 1 vote. I'm taking that as right.
No, you can't.
I'm taking my victory lap.
No, you can't. You cannot. It is not
I know it's not
right.
unanimous. He's going to be off by 1 vote, and I'm going to be sick to my stomach. I said back in September. So I'm telling you, he's going to have just an elite year. Just remind, I believe if I even were to go back to that, my wording truly was along the lines of, he's going to remind everybody why he's the best quarterback on the planet Earth. And he did. That's what he did. And I'm not going to get unanimous because someone's like, well, Jalen Hurts did, outdid all his numbers while having, one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL and retooling his entire team. Meanwhile, Pat's got Tweedledee and Tweedledum catching the football. Going to hurt someone.
We didn't do too bad.
No, we did.
I think
pretty good.
I wonder how Dan and Brendan did.
I wonder as well.
I bet we beat them.
Maybe.
Let's go ahead and take that victory lap.
I'm not going to do that unless we confirm we have gotten the victory.
I'm going BYU getting ready to rush the court against Gonzaga and then not do it.
And then not knowing what I watched in that game.
I'm gonna go ahead and say we got the win there. That's a good effort. It really is. Coming up, we are going to get to I don't want to say I told you so, but I'm going to say I told you so. When it comes to NIL, there's some new reports out there on NIL deals. We'll get to Big 12 hoops, talk KU, K-State, Iowa State, TCU, some big matchups there before the Sunflower Showdown coming up on Tuesday. And then we'll go to the NFC picks, and we will get our official picks for Super Duper Wildcard Weekend. Get to this real quick because a lot of people still think NIL is not a good thing. we told you when this was going to happen that, one, it's not going to be as much money as you think it's going to be. And two, it's not going to hurt the locker room. And three, it's going to benefit more people than it will hurt the overall product. I don't know if you know, but the best players are still going to Georgia. I don't know if you figured that one out yet. Still the same. But I thought this was very interesting. This is coming from a brand builder named Zach Soskin. He said 75% or around 75% of NIL contract valuations are smoke and mirrors. People hear the numbers and they think new cash. But most collective deals include wildly inflated valuations on in-kind items. Some also fool kids into thinking it's new money, but then they're counting the school stipend. This isn't new in sports marketing. It's how NBA sneaker contracts are reported. Those valuations include product allotments, guaranteed marketing spend to promote their athlete, incredibly unlikely incentives. Cash is often half or less of reports. This is why I always encourage athletes to make sure their contracts are negotiated in a written way that separates cash from value in kind items. It's the only way to protect yourself from funny accounting. Anybody who tries to wrap it all together is trying to deceive you. Another trick I've heard collectives trying to pull is writing annual contracts that begin in June or later with quarterly payments. So say a kid signs for $40,000, they'll actually end up with $10,000 before the bowl game and $20,000 total on the season. Shocker. 75% of the NL contract valuations are smoke and mirrors. Wow. You mean a rich dude trying to won over someone when it comes to a contract? Color me shocked. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that rich people are trying to deceive you and they're going to keep most of their money. Just like we told you, investing in an 18-year-old kid for a boatload of money and probably not getting the ROI that you want, they're not going to continue to do it like normal. Rich people stay rich because they don't just give away their money. The amount of people who are making big bucks in NIL, not many at all. We are talking a very limited number. Name, image, and likeness is a great thing for guys like Deuce Vaughn, for guys like Jared Casey, for those type of guys. Yes, the Bryce Youngs and those type of people, that's worked out very, very well for them. But they are the top. And oh my gosh, did it crater the locker room? No. And if it did, that locker room was already cratered and they weren't going to win to begin with. So it doesn't really matter. People are not just going to spend money just on a whim. But guess what? You ready for this? If they do, I don't care. It ain't my money. If you want to spend $100 million on a recruit, go do it. Good for you. Good for the kid. I don't care. NIL has been great, but shocker that about 75% are smoke and mirrors. Coming up, we're going to get to a little KUK State hoops on Second Thought and talk more of super duper wildcard weekend. final hour of the best non-Red Friday edition of Mic'd Up on the year.
I agree with that.
It is the absolute best non-Red Friday edition because the Chiefs play next week. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get to our final predictions, but I'm going to say that the Chiefs will be playing the very first game on Sunday.
I think they'll put them in the Sunday slot.
I think they're going to be on the Sunday slot.
Okay.
And I will explain coming up around the bottom of the hour.
That's what we call a tease in the biz.
Jacob on Fullcaster with you here on this Friday edition. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know on the Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. Love to get your thoughts and your predictions. Who do you have winning? Who do you have the Chiefs playing? Let us know what you think is going to end up happening. Of course, the biggest news of the day in the sports world happens to come from the Chargers, and that Mike Williams is out for the playoffs unless the Chargers make the Super Bowl, because Mike Williams broke his back in the game against the Broncos, in which,
again, real shame he had to play that game.
For those of you who don't know Fulton's sarcasm, is the Chargers were the 5 seed no matter what. Win, lose, draw, didn't matter. They were the 5 seed. Mike Williams played, who was a little nicked up to begin with, and then hurt himself even more, and he is out. Not only is he out, he is out for 2 to 3 weeks.
I want to add this as well, because this, I think, is another element to really pointing out that I think Brandon Staley should be fired, maybe on this decision alone. The only way the Chargers could have not been the 5 seed, win or lose or draw, would have been if the Ravens beat the Bengals. Do you know what time the Ravens kicked off on that final Sunday, Jake?
I don't.
Noon.
I was not even in the country.
No, you weren't. Do you know what time the Broncos and Chargers kicked off on that Sunday?
4.
Yeah. Which means the Chargers knew the result of the game. They knew the Ravens had lost. With that in mind,
Yikes.
they were locked into the 5 seed.
Correct.
Nothing would have changed. Brandon Staley saw that and said, bet I'm still going to play all my stars. For 3 quarters. That's a fireable offense to me. I've probably been like the least among the group here on the fire Brandon Staley train. No, that's a fireable offense.
I have said if he does not want to play, if he didn't make the playoffs, he was fired.
Yeah.
He made the playoffs. But if, depending upon what happens in the playoffs, he also can be fired. They've got too much talent for that to happen. By the way, the Chargers without Mike Williams against the Chiefs is a big deal, because in the first game against the Chiefs, he had 8 receptions, 113 yards. The second game against the Chiefs, he only played in 1 snap.
Got 1 catch, tweaked his ankle, and was out the rest of the game.
And it was a sweet catch, by the way.
It's awesome.
And so that is how important Mike Williams is to the Chargers for when they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Because if he plays in that game, he doesn't just make 1 catch, by the way. I hope people realize that.
Brad makes multiple.
That's some big news there.
Yeah, but he got hurt because his head coach is a dummy. Mashed potatoes for brains.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced someone did a brain transplant with Brandon Staley in the offseason. We didn't know about it. That's not the same man that coached year 1. That's not the same man. He's a doppelganger. He's an evil twin. Something. That is not the same man. The internet bullied him into being stupid.
And if you let the internet bully you into doing something, well, then that you're not that you're not that guy, pal.
As an NFL head coach, 100%.
You're not that guy.
Other things, we can have different conversations. NFL head coach, you just shouldn't have the job.
Yeah, you're not that guy. Let's get to some hoops.
Let's do it.
We're going to talk K-State, TCU first. TCU has lost 2 games in Big 12 play. They're 2-2. They lost to Iowa State, which not a bad loss.
Quality loss.
And they lost to Texas. And they were beating Texas until they kind of went full Oklahoma and melted down at the end. But they lost to Iowa State and Texas by a combined 6 points. They beat Baylor by 1 and beat Tech by 6. Expect a close game.
Mm-hmm.
They've got good players. Mike Miles, really, really good. Averages like 19 a game. The one aspect of this entire game, because TCU is middle of the road in everything. They're middle of the road in offense. They're middle of the road in defense. They're not great on offense. They're not great on defense. You know, they don't shoot the 3. That is what they do not do. And when I say they don't shoot the 3, I mean they are bad. As a team, they do not shoot the 3 well. Now, can Mike Miles shoot the 3? Yes. But they don't shoot the 3. So if you are thinking, okay, maybe we got on the road in that weird floor that they got there at Schollmeyer Arena, that, wow, TCU is going to light the nets up from deep. That's probably not going to happen when you shoot on average, because we got a decent sample size here now. We got around 18 games, 16 games, 16, 17, 18 games. They shoot 26% from deep. They don't shoot the 3 well. So if they go off and go, you know, like 13 of 22, I doubt that's going to happen. And if you do, that sucks. But that's not the concern to me for Kansas State. TCU has a monster of a man inside. And Eddie Lampkin.
He's a big boy.
He is huge. He is so big. K-State doesn't have that guy.
No.
K-State's got good guard play. K-State's got good wing play. K-State can play defense. They can get up, you know, they can score. We know that. They can't defend the post inside. Boone destroyed them. What are they going to do with Lampkin?
Yeah.
I mean, he is a 7-footer who is, you know, he's not ready for this. I didn't think we get an Eric Chenoweth reference today on the show, but he is not Eric Chenoweth. All right.
Throwing that out
All
here.
right. He is not. He is a gigantic man. He's like Greg Ostertag. He's huge.
Got an Eric Chenoweth and a Craig Ostertag reference in the same segment.
Yeah. All right.
Lord.
He's not a skinny mini.
No.
And he can play.
Yeah, Eddie Lampkin can definitely play ball.
And so I wonder how he's gonna foul out Igiola. He's gonna foul out everybody. I would force feed him the basketball and say, let's see what he can do.
I would, because it to me comes down to this. Caleb Boone had himself a day against K-State.
Correct.
23 points. He's listed at 6'9", 198. That's what he's listed at. I think he's probably a little bigger than that, but
I hope he's
what he's listed.
I hope he'd be in the 2 bills.
I assume he's in the 2 bills. I'm going off ESPN's heights and weights here, so we
Eddie Lampkin
cross-check.
pushing 3.
Eddie Lampkin, according to ESPN, is 6'11", 263. That 263 is a lie. That man's at least 280.
That guy's big.
He's a big boy. But here's the important part, though. Here are the 2 guys K-State will play inside who'll probably get most of the work on. Naquan Salmon, 6'10", matches up with the length. Listed at 210.
140.
He's listed at 210. I think that's being generous.
He's 140.
Very skinny man. Bebe Igiola, 6'10". Got the height and the length. Listed at 220.
185.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think that's going to be the number one thing for K-State tonight is you have the length to deal with Eddie Lampkin. That's not going to be the problem.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 50 pounds on every player.
Yeah, he's huge.
Like any guy that's going to have to deal with Eddie Lampkin down low, he's got like 50 pounds on. And that ain't 50 pounds of just, you know, Jell-O and cheeseburgers. Eddie Lampkin doesn't look like a strong guy because he has the profile of the classic, very thick center that's like, he ain't running fast, and I don't know how much weight's he lifting. No, Eddie Lampkin's strong.
He got that farm strength.
He's got that deceptive, you're not just a big boy because you heavy. You a big boy because you strong.
That is a matchup that I'm interested in.
That means everything.
Yeah.
If K-State finds a way to guard Eddie Lampkin and not foul out your centers, I think they'll be fine. If Tomlin and Ijiola get in foul trouble, I don't know what K-State does. Because they don't have David and Gasson. Because you don't have that. You're already short in your front court. And you're facing one of the better front court players in conference play who just physically is not a good matchup for you.
So I think K-State will get the victory here. I do. I'm going to guess K-State's the underdog in this game. I'm going to say TCU is going to be favored by 2.5. But I think K-State is going to continue the mojo. But it wouldn't stun me if they lose because I do think this is a look-ahead game because you've got KU coming up on Tuesday.
Big matchup coming up.
See how K-State plays on the road against TCU. TCU's been in every game. Lost to Iowa State, barely. And then Texas beat them by 4. Beat Baylor by 1. Beat Tech by 6. So I think this could be a fun game coming up tomorrow. KU and Iowa State. We talked to Jared Stansberry in the noon hour. If you want to check that out, you can go back and check out our website, or you can check us out on YouTube right now. Our YouTube apparently is very blurry. Having some
we'll work on that. That is at the mercy of the internet of this station.
Yeah, we don't really have control over that.
We quite literally have zero control over that. We'll hope it gets solved, but we do apologize.
But first one to 70 wins this game.
100%. 100%. This game, first one to 70 probably wins.
Iowa State is the second best defense that KU has faced the entire year. They did not handle the very best defense this year. And do you know who that was?
Oklahoma State.
No. Who
do you think is better?
Tennessee.
That's probably correct. Let's go to the Ken Palm.
Tennessee made...
Oh, they are the number one adjusted defense in Ken Palm. I apologize, Volunteers. I'll take the L on that one.
Tennessee...
I didn't realize Tennessee was the number... Yeah, they can defend. God, they can defend.
Tennessee made KU look like a JV team for a day.
Man, they can defend.
I think you need to go rewatch that.
I don't want to.
KU Tennessee.
No,
game,
I don't want to.
And then that will refresh your mind. And
I don't want to.
Yikes.
I remember exactly where I was as that game was happening. I didn't have a good day. I don't remember that.
You know who else didn't have a good day?
Every Kansas Jayhawk.
Every Jayhawk.
Bill Self.
Every Jayhawk. This is a different type of defensive team because Tennessee was just so much bigger at every position.
Yeah.
Iowa State plays very good defense. They are the best defense in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State's probably number 2. Iowa State will also use that game film from Tuesday to use against the Jacks because Oklahoma did some unique things with the face guarding of Grady Dick and everything.
Yeah.
They are not exceptional on offense. They can get it going, though, if you let them. Just ask Texas Tech because they got housed. Now, that was at home. That was at Hilton. But Iowa State doesn't. They beat you with the sum of their parts. They don't have a Jalen Wilson. They don't have a Keontae Johnson. They've got 5 guys who are going to score between 12 and 13 points. That makes you very difficult to guard. Can one of them go off? Yes. But they are not an exceptional offensive team. I think this one wouldn't stun me if Iowa State beats KU at the Fieldhouse. I'm not going to predict it because, KU doesn't lose at home.
KU doesn't lose inside that building.
So I'm not going to say Iowa State's going to win. But I bet you Iowa State, if Iowa State is a 4-point dog or lower, I will take Iowa State in the points. this is going to be a dog fight. And if it's a dog fight, you want the team with the points, because I think this is going to be a very close game. Don't know yet, because we'll probably find out the line later on, maybe this evening or coming up tomorrow. But this one is a tough matchup for KU because of how well Iowa State defends, and they are a better offensive team than Oklahoma.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is, the two games where KU's really struggled as of late in Big 12 play against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Iowa State's a better defense than those two teams, but very much more importantly, they just are better offenses than those two teams as well. And that's the real big key here is, can you try and solve the Iowa State defense? But I mean, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma have kind of given the idea of what you try to do to make Kansas have issues scoring, and you just got to force them into very uncomfortable shots.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just let them do what they want to. I mean, it sounds simple, and sounds like, of course, that's how you beat any team. But Kansas specifically, if they have to start going very off schedule, and because the other part is this, when it comes to Kansas, they're really susceptible to specific players, because it's not really it's his players. If you start getting them to take things they don't want to take, they really just start forcing those shots too. Like, the moment you get them in a flow of like, man, we got to take these bad shots, they just start doing it and get out of all sorts of a rhythm. If you can throw KU out of their rhythm, it takes them a real hard time to get back into it. Kansas starts to get you, though, when they get that orchestra, going in a harmony, going in the symphony. So if I'm Iowa State, it's simple in practice, but you just throw them off. It's not easy in application, but I think Iowa State is a team built to where they can just try and force Kansas to be frustrated all afternoon. This is a 40-minute rock fight inside Allen Fieldhouse. Like, I don't see either team ever really taking a big lead, but who knows?
I really hope both of them win.
I'd be a fan.
That would be fun, because then they are the two best teams.
Top two teams in the Big 12 going at it Tuesday night, Ramage Coliseum, top 10 matchup.
And one team will be victorious.
Two teams enter, one team leaves.
And then that team is leading the Big 12 a third of the way through the Big 12 season. Not quite a third of the way. But they'd be 5-0. No, they would be 6-0. They would be.
Third of the way through the year.
That would be a third of the season in Big 12. 6-0.
The energy in that building would be insane. The Big League Chew chant will be deafening.
Kellis Robinette said that he's with me. If that does happen.
Oh, Jerome Tang's shutting that down.
He will step out of the huddle and shut her down. And he will then become the most powerful man in Manhattan. He stopped.
If he stops Big League Chew with Chew in the building.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yep.
It's one thing to do it when Chew's not in the building.
He is Thanos. He's inevitable.
He's the Don.
He's Thanos, because I didn't think any one person could have that kind of power. I hope that happens.
I just want to see it.
That would be awesome.
I just want to see if he can get them to stop doing it, because it's going to happen. They're going to do it. This isn't a question of if those students, they're going to do it. Especially if K-State's undefeated at that point in conference play.
I don't know.
They'll do it. Without a shadow of a doubt, I would put my life savings on it. They will try and start that chant. I'm not going to bet on the length of it. They're going to try.
No, I don't know if they will. And the reason why is because the administration is going to try to put the fear of death in them.
Going to try.
And I'm not.
A game of chicken is going to be played, and I am sorry. I don't think those K-State students are going to blink.
I'll have to wait and see.
I've been around all this way too much over several years to think those students are going to not.
The reason why I think it might not is because Jerome Tang has told them before.
I know. He's told them, administration has told them. I know.
Well, no, it's Tang at a football game.
Yeah, said don't do that.
Squashed it. So that's why I'm not for sure it's going to happen.
I will say this. We have a texter in from the 785 who asks us, what is the Big League Chew chant? We can't repeat the whole thing.
Well, the reason why we say Big League Chew is because that's where, they say expletive KU.
Yes.
And it kind of sounds like Big League Chew.
Yeah. The phrase, for anyone that truly doesn't know, is a 4-letter word that starts with the letter F being bleeped out.
Yes.
KU.
Yeah. The students chant that, especially during Sandstorm.
Yes. It is why Sandstorm for a time was banned from K-State sporting events, because that was the song that made them do it. So then they started doing it, I think, at times during the Cannonball.
Yeah, the Cannonball. Yeah. And then the band director said, if you keep doing that, we will not play the Cannonball.
Yeah. That, I will say, that has actually gotten more traction than anything else of getting them to stop doing it.
And that's why we were making fun of, because they're not, K-State fans are not that, they're classy. They would not say that. That's why they're chanting Big League Chew or we love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
No, but that's what the chant is, and it's very funny to me. Even as a KU guy, I just find it hilarious.
Coming up next, we're going to get to On Second Thought, and then we'll get to our NFC picks and our final thoughts going into Super Wildcard Weekend. Alrighty, on second thought, where we'd like to have a do-over here during this week. Alrighty, Fulton, what do you got?
This is a very simple one for me. Both on these airwaves and on the internet, so it lives truly in infamy. I thought the TCU Horned Frogs would keep things close on Monday night. I was just a little wrong. Just a little. Not by much, obviously. Not by much at all. I think it was a close game. Yeah. On air, I did not pick TCU to win, but I said I really, truly thought they would keep it close, and there's no way TCU would get blown out on Twitter. And I've not deleted the tweet because I'm not a man afraid of his failures. I did pick TCU to win. I was very wrong. Like, super duper historically, they're the answer to a trivia question wrong. As I've always said, you don't want to be an answer to a trivia question, particularly the bad side. That's what you want to avoid in life. When your life is over, if there's anything you truly don't want to do, amongst many different things, one of those things is never be on the wrong side of a trivia question. Never be the wrong part of the answer. The bad part of the answer. Because now TCU's the bad part of, hey, Jake, what is the most lopsided game in college football championship history? Oh, it's been TCU lost 65-7.
Do you remember when Paul Meyerberg said that they were lucky it was 65-7?
Yeah, I remember Paul saying that. Paul saying they should be happy that it could have been 80. I remember.
All righty.
What's yours, Jake?
Mine occurred Tuesday evening at 9:44.
We got a timestamp, folks. We have a timestamp.
Yep, 9:44. I tweeted out, OU has hit some crazy tough shots this second half. This one has a different feel to it. Sooners have all the momentum right now. Like OU's chances.
You can't do that.
It felt different.
You can't do that.
It felt different. And I asked Brendan Wednesday. You were not here on Wednesday.
No, I wasn't. Took the day off.
I asked Brendan. I go, Brendan, did that feel different when you were in the field house with 5 minutes to go? And he goes, it kind of did. The difference is that Brendan did not think that OU was going to pull out the victory. And that is the reason why I asked Jared Stansberry, how many points does Iowa State need to be up with 5 minutes to go? And he said 1 million.
That building, man.
OU has hit some crazy tough shots this second half, which is true.
That was a factual statement.
This one has a different feel to it.
That was a factual statement. I honestly agree.
Sooners have all the momentum.
Factual statement.
Feels like they're going to pull it out.
You're very wrong. I was so Tuesday. So watching that game, I was with some friends. Doing bar trivia, but I'm watching the game as it's happening, and it's about 5 minutes to go, and it's that 10-point Oklahoma lead, and I'm very stressed. But there's always that thought in the back of my mind of the run's coming or should, and then as it started happening, and Key was really starting to go up. I looked to one of my friends sitting there. Because I had talked to them, they didn't really know basketball that much, and I was making the kind of like, great, this is why this is the greatest building. It happens. It makes people play stupid. And they go like, what do you mean? 30 seconds later was OU's airballed force 3. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That building has a weird, and it's the weirdest thing. And that's why I'm always so confident, or why I say KU doesn't lose at home outside of the records and anything else. It's watch games played in that building. More often than not, when a team has a big lead and they start losing it, and Allen and that crowd gets involved, it's like the teams that are facing lose brain cells.
They turtle.
It's crazy. So no, it's like I said, Brendan and I, when we were in college, were on the call for that comeback of KU against West Virginia. Greatest thing I've ever seen in person in my life. Since that moment, until KU mathematically can't win the game, I will always believe they can come back inside that building. Because more often than not, I have been witness to just, they did. They find a way.
What game was that?
That was 2017, I believe, West Virginia, Kansas. think it was 2017 in February. The specific date escapes me. KU was down by about 14 with, I think, 2:13-ish left.
Yeah, they won in overtime.
Yep, 85-80?
84-80.
84-80, I must point on that.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
What? The play-by-play is not available?
Oh, that's painful.
No, I want the...
you want the score to know exactly what the time was.
Maybe they got it here. Yeah, with less than 4 minutes to go, KU trailed by 14.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Brendan and I took the under 4 timeout. It was our last timeout of that broadcast. And coming out of it, we had the thought of we were just, we're chatting there. And it's that thought of, hey, what does KU need to do? And we both were just like, there's a chance here, but you got to start just chipping.
So that is my... That's my own second thought.
Never doubt Allen Fieldhouse.
My bad, Kate.
Never doubt that building.
We got some breaking news. Rams coach Sean McVay intends to return to coach after taking a few days to consider his future. Sean McVay got a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in him, doesn't he? I could have told you he was going to come back. He's
got a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in him.
He does. He needs it to be a little bit about me. He needs to
got that drama.
Hey, everybody, I'm going to let you know what I'm going to do here in about 72 hours. All right, so just give me some time. I need to figure out what I want to do. He has a shirt that probably has the 2 thumbs pointing at himself, like it's me. Like he does. He's got a little bit of some narcissism to him.
I love that you called it. He's got a little Aaron Rodgers in him. That was funny.
Aaron Rodgers, same situation. I'll let you know what I'm gonna do because I'm that important, and I need to have a special contract. I'm gonna do this.
This is funny. If you're Sean McVay, though, why are you still coaching?
Because he's a coach. That's what they do.
Just take your ball and go home, man.
What's he going to do? He's only like 38. How old is he?
I think he's 37 or 38. Maybe 39 at the oldest. He's not 40 yet. He's not 40.
He's 36. What? I mean, can he? Yes. Because I've said this a lot. If I could retire tomorrow, I would. And I would not be bored a single day the rest of my life. Boring people are bored. I would not get bored.
Yeah.
I'd have plenty of stuff to do.
Yeah.
One, I've got 2 kids who are under the age of 3. So I would have
a lot of work there.
I had plenty of stuff to do, but that's if I, could retire and I don't have to worry about money. He could retire and not worry about money.
Nope, not for a second.
But he's you don't have that brain where he remembers every play, every game of every game ever.
That's fair.
He's a coach. Of course he was going to come back.
That's fair. All I'm saying is, he could retire. He has a Super Bowl ring. He could go do other stuff that's less stressful than coaching, go home to his supermodel fiance or whatever. Be done at 36. Cash in, man. Just go to the broadcast booth. It's way less stressful.
It is. And you can make good money.
Yeah.
That's Tony Romo.
Leave that dumpster fire of a team with what you got left into because Les Snead said bleep them picks.
Hey, they got a Super Bowl.
That team ain't going to be good for years.
Hey, the way we look at it, Sean McVay, he's a Super Bowl, or he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, and he won a Super Bowl.
He did? So I'm telling you, just take your ball and go home.
Super Bowl
that's my advice to you, Sean McVay. Just take your ball and go home. You're good, man.
Coming up next, we'll get to our NFC picks and our final thoughts on Super Duper Wild Card Weekend. Friday as we gear up towards the weekend. We've gone through the AFC.
We have.
All righty. I'm still going Chargers. You're going Jags.
Yep. It's our only difference.
I'm going Bills.
I'm going Bills.
And I'm going Bengals, but close.
I'm going Bengals. Probably not as close as you.
Bengals close. Bengals win. Ravens cover.
I don't want to touch that line with a 10-foot pole.
Going Ravens cover. Their defense is playing well. Ravens cover. Slow scoring game in Cincy. In the NFC, first game out of the chute, San Francisco taking on Seattle. Dan?
Close your ears.
Seahawks get destroyed.
Not going to be great.
No. San Fran is playing very well. If there was a singular bet that I would make, it would be that George Kittle will score a touchdown. Brock Purdy has found his dude, and his name is George Kittle. San Fran wins. They cover the 9.5. And I think they wax them. San Fran against Seattle. Seattle can't stop the Chiefs just harassed Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And the 49ers have a good pass rush.
Yeah, they do. They got a Bosa.
So I don't think it's as far-fetched of the Dolphins beating the Bills. Like that's never going to happen. Seahawks, any given Sunday, can beat San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
There's no chance that the Dolphins beat San Francisco.
No chance in hell the Dolphins beat the Bills.
No chance. But I like San Francisco. I think San Francisco rolls in this one. That one is 3:30 tomorrow on FOX on Fox. And then you got Los Angeles taking on Jacksonville at 7:15 on NBC for the Chargers and the Jaguars. Sunday. Already gone over the Bills and the Dolphins. That's a noon kick at CBS. Baltimore and Cincy's the NBC kick at 7:15. New York at Minnesota. 3:30 on Fox. Minnesota's defense is awful.
Not been great.
Not good. Minnesota's offense, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson, player of the year. Offensive player of the year.
Jeff been good.
I don't think the Giants are going to be able to flip kind of how they've been playing recently. They lost to the Vikings just a couple weeks ago. I think the Vikings are going to win, and this one will be high scoring. The Vikings give up a ton of points. They have a negative point differential.
Yeah, they do.
If I would not bet this game, but do you think the Giants can win this game?
Yes.
Then you bet the Giants plus the 3 points.
Yeah. No, that's the usual way you do that math.
This one to me is the hardest game to figure out.
Yeah, I'm with you because like I'm lockstep with you on Seattle and San Francisco. I would love it if Seattle won, both because then hey, Dan gets his team gets a playoff win, a cool one. Two, then maybe people will shut up about Brock Purdy because I just want this to end. I am sick of this discourse that, oh my God, the Niners have a quarterback controversy between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. I'm sick of it. I am annoyed. I am frustrated. It is driving me up a wall.
Here's the thing.
I am sick of it.
Here's the thing. It's fact. And the reason why is that not one time has Trey Lance ever looked this good in a 49er uniform over this stretch.
Trey Lance has not gotten to play football.
That is part of the game. There's no disagreement. You cannot argue that Trey Lance in a 49er uniform has not had the production that Brock Purdy has had in a 49er uniform.
How much stressful football has Brock Purdy had to play?
I am just pointing out that the 49ers, when Trey Lance is the quarterback, he has not had the success throwing the football that Brock Purdy has had.
Sure.
Brock Purdy's been pretty decent.
Sure. How much stressful football has he had to play?
He's played in. Hold on, I gotta look at.
He's played in 6 games. He started 5.
He's got 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. I mean,
cool.
Trey Lance ain't got that. Trey Lance, and Trey Lance's career has even played 6 games.
Cool. Brock Purdy has played a Tampa Bay team with no teeth. He has played a Seattle team that was one of the most lopsided 8-point games I've ever seen. He played a Commanders team who's not good. I'll give him credit. He had to be a little bit of a stressful situation against the Raiders, but that defense doesn't exist. So that's less stressful. And then he faced a bad Cardinals team.
You're making me sound like I'm a Brock Purdy defender.
I am so sorry. Brett Purdy's thrown for 185 yards, 217 yards, 234 yards, 284 in an overtime game, and 178.
He hasn't.
Has Brock Purdy screwed up? No, and I will give him that credit.
Yeah.
Has Brock Purdy been asked to do literally anything for this team? No.
Trey Lance, the same situation. He hadn't had the success.
He hasn't played.
But that's part of it.
I'm just frustrated.
And you know, like
and I will openly admit this frustration stems from I've disliked the overhype around Brock Purdy since he was at Iowa State. I will openly admit that. I will not lie to any of you about that.
If Brock Purdy melts down against the Seahawks,
I will take the biggest victory lap on the planet. He won't, because Seattle can't do it. Because also, he's not going to be asked to do anything. They're going to run the ball 30,000 times because Seattle can't stop the run.
Correct.
He will throw for barely 200 yards. Brock Purdy less than 230 passing yards, lock of the century.
Under what?
230. Lock of the century.
Is that what his over-under is?
I have no idea what it is. I haven't looked.
Let's take a quick
lock of the century.
Take a quick peek.
Also, I would take the Giants to beat the Vikings. That's my biggest upset of the weekend. I think Giants beat the Vikings. So I think it actually will be the Giants taking on the number 1 seed of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Bucks probably beat Cowboys because I think Dak's going to throw a couple of stupid interceptions that's going to cost them the game. Though I think that is going to be very close on Monday night.
Brock Purdy, 214 passing yards.
Take the under.
214.
Take the under. They're not going to throw the football.
And Bucks versus Cowboys.
I said I'm going Bucks. I think Dak's going to throw a couple of stupid picks that cost him the game. It comes down to that.
I will take Tom Brady in the playoffs.
It's also usually a good bet.
Until Tom Brady is not in the playoffs. They're getting a little bit more healthy as well. They're getting healthier. That is a huge a huge bonus. They are limping into the to the playoffs a little bit. But I'm gonna take Tommy.
That's a good bet.
So I think this is what's gonna happen. I think the Vikings win. I think the Chargers win. So I think it's gonna be Chiefs Chargers. Bills Bengals, Chiefs Chargers. That's your divisional round. It's gonna be Bucks, Eagles, Vikes, 49ers. So they're gonna do this scenario. The Bucks have to play on Sunday.
Okay.
Because they're playing Monday night.
Yeah.
So that's Tom Brady. It's the Bucks Eagles playing Sunday night. Right? Bucks Eagles Sunday night. They have to play it because the Bucks play on Monday Night Football. So Bucks Eagles. All right. Vikings 49ers, not very sexy. That's going on Saturday. Bills Bengals. Prime time, Saturday night. That means Chiefs, Chargers, early game Sunday. Even if the Cowboys win, then it's a for sure no member because they're playing on Sunday. Cowboys, Eagles, prime time, Sunday night. The only way the Chiefs, to me, don't play Sunday, the early game, is if either the Bengals or the Bills lose. They want Bengals, Bills, prime time.
Yeah.
I think that is what's going to end up happening. So
I think you make a good point there.
I think it'll be Bucks, Eagles, primetime Sunday because they got to play that game, and they'll want Tom Brady in primetime with the Eagles, especially if it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Then it will be primetime. So that's why I think the Chiefs will play the early game on Sunday. Coming up next, though, we're going to wrap things up with the mic drop. It's time for the mic drop here on Mic'd Up. All right, Fulton. The next time that you will talk to the people will be Tuesday at noon because we are going to be off on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Correct.
What are you going to leave the people?
I'll leave people with this. Enjoy a stress-free football weekend. We haven't had one of these in a while. Enjoy it. Kick your feet up. Watch some football. Just enjoy it. Also, watch other sports as well if you want to. Like, I'm going to enjoy KU K-State, which are some awesome games coming up. And hopefully Tuesday we're previewing a top 10 matchup inside Bramlage. But just enjoy what's a relatively stress-free, at least football weekend. We don't get a lot of these, so don't take them for granted.
Skylar Thompson, go shock the world.
If he does that, I will laugh so hard.
Go shock the world, my friend. That'd be amazing.
Would be hilarious.
Come on, Jags. Let's go Ravens. The greatest weekend of all time is that the Bills and the Bengals lose.
Oh,
this
heaven.
weekend. It'd be amazing. That's what I hope. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. We're going to be off on Monday. Have yourselves a fantastic, super duper wildcard weekend.